Making bleached pine cones. So these are all the supplies that you're gonna need. First off, you will need a large bucket. It doesn't really matter the size. I just had this one lying around, so I decided to grab it. Obviously, you'll need the pine cones. You're gonna need water, bleach. I'm using a measuring cup, but you don't necessarily have to. Heavy rocks and a plate. Since I don't have any plates that aren't good, I am using the bottom of a spring round pan, so I'm hoping that will work. So what you're going to need is you're going to need to fill up the bucket with your pine cones, and you want to add your water, add your bleach. You're going to put the plate or whatever round piece you have on top of the pine cones. Then you're going to want to place your heavy rocks on top of that plate to keep them submerged. You will need 4 parts water and 1 part bleach, and then you want to just leave them sit for 24 hours. You can check them about halfway through at the 12-hour mark, but you don't have to. They will close up. Right now, some of them are closed, some of them are open, but the water will make them close up. That's normal. When you lay them out to dry afterwards, they'll open up again. So I am going to get started, and we'll see how. And there you have it. I did forget that you do actually need rubber gloves or any sort of like working gloves that'll keep your hands safe from the bleach, because the first time I put the plate down with the rocks, and it ended up kind of being like skewed off to the side, and some of the pine cones were floating up around the edges. So I just put on my gloves, adjusted the plate and the rocks so that every single pine cone is submerged. So we're going to come back in maybe 12 hours to check on them, and then see what they're like at the end of 24. Time to check out the results of our bleached pine cone. So I have rubber gloves because of the bleach. I have an old towel that I don't really care if it gets bleach stains on it. I hope it's big enough, but we'll see. So we've got the rocks first. We're taking out. Doesn't look like they're very white. I'm hoping when they dry, the bleach kind of soaks in more and turns them that pretty color that we want. Yeah. So they did lighten up a little bit, but as you can see, they're still definitely brown. Not the pretty like white color I've seen on all the Pinterest pages that I got the idea from. Well, this one did turn white quite a bit, so it is working, but maybe I just got the ratio wrong. Maybe I put too much water and not enough bleach. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to let these guys dry out, and then I'm going to try the process again, but this time with more bleach. So yeah, a few of them are turning, just not as much as I wanted. We'll let these guys dry. So the pine cones actually did lighten up quite a bit after I let them dry, but they're still not nearly the bleached effect that I want. So I'm going to put them back in. Last time I did 4 parts water, 1 part bleach. I'm too impatient for that, so now I'm going to do just half bleach, half water. So I'm going to set them up in the bucket and then see how they look after another 24 hours. It's actually only been 8 hours since I started the new batch of bleach and water for the pine cones, and I can already see some of them are turning the bleached white like I want. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to take the rocks and the plate off and stir them around with the gloves and let them sit for another 8 hours and then check them again. So hopefully you can see. There's one over there that is the perfect color of white. They're turning white. Not all of them, but a good chunk of them are, and I'm so excited.
trying to give them a good start, because I think with the plate and that on top, they're not getting the air or something for the bleach to work on them. So stirring them around quite a bit. There's probably just under half that have turned white. So maybe after this, I'll take out the ones that it's worked on and put the rest in again. Really depends on how many I get.
So here is the final product after 48 hours of soaking in bleach and water. I do recommend just going on with the half and half bleach and water right away instead of doing the 4 parts water, 1 part bleach. You'll save yourself a lot of time. They did not turn out fully bleached like I saw in all the Pinterest posts, but I'm not disappointed. Once they dried a little more, some of them did turn more white. It's actually kind of like an off-white too, like a yellowy white, I guess, from the bleach. Some of them only turned like half white, but it looks great. It's definitely a good spin on natural pine cones for a decorative piece. Last tip I have is that when you take them out of the bleach, and even once they've dried, they smell like bleach. But that's no surprise because they've just been soaking in it for so long. But something you can do to get rid of that odor is if you have an essential oil or even just a fragrant oil that's either pine needle or fir needle. I just had on hand the fir needle, and it works great. It's a little strong at first. It's not exactly like the pine scent, but it'll do. Now that they're all done, I am really looking forward to using these in my centerpiece, not only for fall, but for winter and Christmas as well. They're pretty universal, so all you have to do is just change up the decorations that you have with it. I'll give you a sneak peek at how I put together my fall centerpiece and what it looks like in the end. Alright, so I'm just going to actually do this all in one big long video just because putting together this centerpiece didn't take that long. So I have my big bowl full of pine cones, and then so this base piece is actually just a artist board from the dollar store that I ended up staining. Yeah, and the pumpkins and the gourds, Morgan actually decided to have the 3 of them like that. I had this fall candle holder last year from Bath and Body Works. I got some coasters from HomeSense, I think, or maybe Winners, and then just have some of the extra pine cones lying around the tray. And there you have it.
Watching, make sure you hit the subscribe button and